if she wanted it, and then keep that time slot open for my regular client. If not, I would ask her, maybe could you possibly come back tomorrow? You could be one of my first clients, or at whatever time I'm available to do it at, in hopes that she would be understanding of how busy we are or the situation.
Okay, great. So a client calls to complain and then returns to the spa because they were dissatisfied with the spa service. The client, keep in mind this may not necessarily be you in your service, it could be any of the other estheticians. The client is visually upset and is looking for compensation. That could be a refund, that could be, a free massage, that could be anything. Let's just say of a poor waxing service, and that wasn't done thoroughly and may have caused a skin reaction. How would you handle it? How would you mitigate the problem so it's not escalated?
I think I would look at who the esthetician was previous, like who did that treatment on, if it wasn't me, who did that treatment on the client, and kind of go through where what could have went wrong, and even possibly looking at her consultation form beforehand to see if there was any contraindications to the treatment that she had that we didn't read over or we weren't aware of, and discuss that with the client. I think if it came to a reaction and something was severe skin-wise, I would have to go to the supervisor to and address them of the situation, what was going on, because that turns into liability, liability within the service and between the esthetician and the client.
Yeah, of course.
But I think if the client is willing to take on another service and say, would I be allowed to have a complimentary service, that would be a discussion between the supervisor and the esthetician to see if that would be a possibility, or if maybe it was the client's fault for not putting something on their consultation form that we weren't aware of.
Okay. And lastly, deals and packages help bring in new clients to test services from new and growing businesses, and they tend to be cheaper in price, but they tend to have less perks, right? A client is using a Groupon, let's say, for a regular manicure and a pedicure, which only includes nail care and let's say regular OPI nail polish. What else might you suggest, and why is it important to make those suggestions?
If the client came in with that if we
Just
were to
with that
sell that
one.
package,
Yeah, correct.
what was the last part of that question? What would I suggest?
What would you suggest in addition to what the client has already purchased as a package, and why is it important to make those suggestions?
Maybe even for them, in the package, is it we are performing a treatment on them already, or is it just with
let's say in this package it's a regular manicure.
Okay.
Right. So and then just regular nail polish, no designs,
Nothing.
no gel, acrylic, no any additional services, right? So as you know, Groupons tend to have less perks, but tend to be cheaper, right? So, and because of that, as an esthetician who works for the salon, what other suggestions would you make for that client, within that appointment? Other things to add?
Well, definitely add-ons like paraffin treatment, as I touched on before. Possibly we can do a hand exfoliant, just other additions to the treatment that might have an additional cost to them, because that could also be bringing in a little bit more money for the spa. But apart from that, if the client is very dedicated to the package that she already purchased, we would have to discuss and say, well, if your hands are dry, this might benefit you, and give them reasons why, because I feel that clients always like for you to explain, but in an easy way so they understand what you're talking about. But yeah, I just think that we would just kind of offer extra little services that we do provide, to see if they're interested in taking part of them.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I no longer have any more questions to ask you, but do you have any questions for me?
I think the only question I would have would be about, or maybe two, would be about the salary and composition for products that I would sell throughout the spa, and if it would wage basis or a little more than minimum wage.
Okay, so your first question was compensation, how you
Yes.
would be compensated.
Yes.
And the second question, I'll address the first one. So as per the job description, it said between 18 or 20. The reason for that pricing is just because, because it's open to new grads. People who may not have 5-6 years of experience, and of course it's in the downtown area, so it's a bit of a busy area. So the $18 to $20 is just considered because we also may have to go through training for certain skills that you may or may not
Yes, I
have.
was gonna ask you about training as well.
Okay.
Is if there was other treatments that I didn't possibly learn in school, if I would get that additional training through the spa as part of I would say like a benefit on my part.
Well, training will be based on firstly what you know. We would evaluate what you know and work from there. As an esthetician, you have many skills in many different areas, right? And that's why having an organized training regimen as to where you'd be put first would probably be our first priority, right? So you can easily fit in. But any other questions?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, well, great. I have your contact information.
Awesome.
It was nice getting to know
Nice
you.
to be-
Thank you for coming in.
I look forward to hearing from you.
All right,
Thank
awesome.
you.